Okay. So we cannot. Hmm. As we discussed yesterday, right? Okay. So we have discussed about the different types of tables. Okay. And their use cases also we have discussed. Right. So one is the permanent table, and another one is the temporary table. And what is the differences we have discussed. Correct. So if we just memorize the yesterday's discussion, okay, what is permanent table and what is temporary table? So permanent table, it is like a long-term storage environment area. Okay, I mean it's a table, so that it will have a full recovery of the data. Even though if this permanent table, hmm, if you delete or anything also, so after time travel retention period, you will have a fail-safe concept also. Okay, so there are two benefits are available. One is the time travel and another one is fail-safe concept. Okay, so generally time travel you will have a 90 days. After that, again you will have a fail-safe retention period will be 7 days. Okay, so this permanent table, this will have a feature. Okay, but when it comes to the temporary table, it is just the session. If you create a temporary table, so till the session is available, at that time only the data will be available in the table. Okay, you can just retrieve the data, and whenever you close the session, and this cannot be accessible for others also. Same temporary table they cannot able to access, because that particular session is only applicable for that particular user. Okay, it is not like that other people can access this temporary table data from other users. Okay, for example, as I mentioned yesterday, right, myself and Venu have two different Snowflake accounts. Okay, I created, means within the same organization, but account ID might be different. Okay, because in IT, okay, they will give the access based on the user. Okay, for example, I have my own access, and Venu will have a own access, but the host is same. Database and everything will be same. And when you try to pull the data from the temporary table. For example, I created a temporary table, and this table I can able to access. Okay, but menu cannot be accessed, because this is especially I created for my session. I mean myself. Okay, so this limitation we have. If you use a permanent table, for example, permanent table, I can able to access, and others also within the team who are having access, right, with the different access, user access, they can able to pull the data. Okay, so this is the difference of permanent table and the temporary table. Okay, so within the host, within the database, okay, if you create a table, permanent table, anyone can access. Okay, and that will have a time travel concept and a fail safe. But temporary table, it is user level. Okay, so for example, I created, means you see, I'll tell you one thing. Okay, so just if you are creating for a testing purpose, then it is only applicable for that only. Okay, but when you create a procedure, and if you are running, right, okay, that is you are going to run through the database user level. Okay, in real time, so no one will have the temporary table access. Okay, at that time, that particular user is triggered. So that user creates the temporary table in real time. Stored procedures if you create, right, at that time. Okay, so that just it will have a whenever stored procedure triggers, right, at that time it will create a temporary table, and then it will retrieve the data from temporary table, like how I created. Same we have created like this in Snowflake. Okay, there is some requirement which we require some temporary table. Instead of creating a permanent table, what we did, we created a two temporary tables. We extracted the data into the table. Okay. And then we loaded the data into final table. Once a stored procedure completion, right? So you will not have any table and as well as data because you don't require. Our requirement is we don't need. So that purpose. Okay. Now coming back to the transit table. Hmm? Okay, this transit table is it is kind of a intermediate table. Okay, and this transit table also this table will be there even if your session is logged out. Okay, and this can be accessible by other users as well. Okay, only the difference is you will not have a fail-safe mechanism for this transit table. Hmm. Why? Because see, in case if you need this data future purpose and if you require a fail-safe, then you can go with this uh, permanent table. If you are not require history for that, then go with the transit table. Then the permanent table and transient table, it is similar actually. Okay. Only you will not have a fail-safe concept for this transient table. And this will have how many years if you want, yes, you can keep this data. Okay. Only in case if you do modifications, anything, right? After 90 days, I mean after time travel, then you will not have a fail-safe concept. Okay, so that why? Because if you are not utilizing the fail-safe concept, then what will happen? The cost will be decreased. Okay, see here you have a two features. One is the time travel and another one is the fail-safe. If you are using both the features, you need to pay money for both features. Okay. And if you are using only one feature, then only that particular feature will have, they will cost, amount. Okay. So like this, what will happen here? It is also same permanent table, kind of a permanent table, but only the thing is fail safe is not available. Okay, fine. Failsafe is not available. That is fine. But do we really require failsafe means? And where we require this failsafe means for dimension tables, okay, and fact tables, final tables, we require. Why? Because we don't know sometimes what will happen, right? So considering that, if we have that feature, it is better. Otherwise, we don't require. So if you see some stage tables are there. Okay, you need some stage tables. So at that time, what will happen? The stage table either you go with the temporary concept or you can go with the transient table. Transient table will have a 90 days. Okay, if you ask me, okay, using instead of permanent table, you can use the transient table so that at least you can save some cost. Okay, and even I'll suggest you go with the temporary table. Why I am telling permanent table? Because, for example, you don't require at all to just validate the data in the table, then I would suggest better use the temporary table because you will save more money here. Why? Because see, there is a table. All the data you are inserting into a table. Just simply you are inserting raw data. You are inserting into a table. Okay. One second. Okay. So, for example, you require. Okay. Generally, you require. uh, you are just loading the data into a table from file or whatever, table to table, just insert it. So that particular table you are just inserting. Okay. Before that, you are loading the data into stage table. At that time, just to keep the temporary table so that you don't require to pay the money. Okay. So this is how the difference between permanent table, temporary table, and a transient table. So this transient table is kind of, as I mentioned, it is a just a simple uh, like a permanent table, but only the feature is if fail safe not available. Okay, that is one thing. We will see the real time also. And external table, it is a different concept. I'll go with the last topic. Okay, now you see dynamic table. Okay, this dynamic table is nothing but it is also kind of a same. Okay, only here is okay, automatically it will refresh the data whenever you pull the data every 10 minutes. Based on the source it will pull the data. It's kind of a view. Okay, so create or replace dynamic table, product sale, what are the columns you have, and the target flag is 10 minutes, warehouse. Okay, refresh mode is auto, as select query. Whenever you generally retrieve the data from product to sale table in this table, from this table, then this query refresh the data automatically every 10 minutes and it keeps the data. Okay, so dynamically it will change. Okay, so this is the advantages of dynamic table. It means data will be dynamically refreshed. You don't require to uh, generally you don't require to refresh manually or something. View what it is. View whenever you query the data, whenever you query, okay, then the query base query, it triggers to the base table and retrieves the data. It means here whenever you are triggering, at that time only the data will be pulled up from the base table in view. Here, what will happen? Either you use this table, either you don't use this table. What will happen? Dynamically, this will extract the data and keep it into product sale. This is called a dynamic table. Okay. So declarative data transmission, automated incremental data updates. This is mainly useful for incremental. Simplifying complex ETL and ELT pipelines. Dynamic tables are more complex and their creation involves defining target logs, blah, blah, blah. They are used for things such as creating aggregate table or whatever. Simple. See, these are all okay points. You ignore it. Okay. Only the thing is, the main requirement is here is simple. If you want to refresh every 10 minutes, every 1 minute, okay, every 1 hour, then go with the dynamic table. That's it. Okay, if you ask me, okay, instead of using this, go with the uh, view. If you ask me, because same it will run. Only the thing is, every 10 minutes you need to run a view. Here, automatically it will store the data. That's it. Create or replace. But everything is same. Okay, but they have given you the feature so that every 10 minutes automatically it will run and it will store the data. Only that is the advantage. Okay, it will keep. You don't require to run separately. Okay, for example, I'll tell you from source. To have a source, you need to pull incremental data. Okay, at that time, whether your job will trigger or not, you don't know, right? But when you create a dynamic table, what will happen? Same time, it will trigger and it will source the data. For example, you have a dependency. Okay, two dependencies are there. So first job and the second job. Hmm? First procedure, it is taking some time. Till that time, you need to have a incremental data for your dependency job. Okay. Then what will happen? I'll show you here. This is your SP1. Hmm? Okay. Once it is completed, then you need to run SP2. Okay. Now this SP1, it should complete by 10, 10 a.m. And after 10, okay, after 10, once this completed, then SP2 should trigger. What happened? You have created your job, this SP1 got, it is taking time, okay, and it crossed the 10 a.m. But it has to trigger actually. But you have a dependency, right? It has to complete. And here, the source table, whatever you are using, after 30 minutes, it will refresh another data set, for example. Okay. In that case, what will happen? You are going to lose the previous 30 minutes data. And after completion of this, you will get another update of data, second update. So in that case, this dynamic table is useful. Okay. Whether this job is trigger or not, what will happen? This particular job, it will pull the data and keeps in your stage table. So dynamic table. Then your SP triggers after 30 minutes. So already this data has been pulled out from your incremental table in your source table. So the data will be there already, right? Here. This SP what it does, it will extract the data from the table. So like this, in case if you have any dependency at the time, okay, and if your job is crossing the timing, I mean taking time more than expected time, and you have a dependency and your source is changing the data, for example overwriting the data, updating the data, then better you go with the dynamic concept, because you don't require to run your procedure, right? Automatically every 10 minutes that will trigger. Okay. So that kind of scenarios if you face, then you need to have this kind of features. So that is the reason Snowflake, they have created this kind of a features. They have added this kind of a features in Snowflake. See, really, this is very, very useful actually. When I was using Informatica, I hope, okay. So at that time, we had a same this kind of a dependency job. What we were doing, um, sometimes if it is taking more than time as expected, so at that time what we were doing, we are checking, and what we were doing, we are canceling that particular parent job, and then we are running the dependent job. Then again, because we were checking, there are some steps are there, okay, dependencies. So even if you stop there, not an issue. Okay. So what we were doing, whenever if it is taking time, then immediately we will stop that job and we will trigger the dependency job, because the data it will overwrite or something it was there actually. So we were triggering after completion of dependency job. Again, we are running, especially those which are not executed steps, right? Those we were running manually. So like that, we are recovering the data. Recovering the job means what, you know? So this is the recovering the job. So parent job we have kept, we have stopped it and we triggered the other job, dependent job. And once it is completed, and we are going back and running manually, okay, which are not executed. So this is called a recovering the jobs. In real time, you use how will you recover the data? How will you recover the jobs in case if it is failed? So there are you face this kind of questions as well. Okay. So this is the concept of okay dynamic table. Let's go and create the practically we will see. Okay. Yes, this is the one. I think it's this. Practical is very important. Okay, you need to do practical, otherwise it is waste. See, yesterday we created a temporary tables, right? Okay. Now also, if you see this temporary table, you cannot able to access because it is it is there till the session what we created. Okay. Even same everything is same. Whatever you execute. Okay. Like that. Now, what we do? We will go with the transient table. Nothing. I'll take the same as it is. Okay. Here I will change the name. And here I'll keep ENT. ENT. Unexpected. Okay. Index. Yes. Okay. Compilation error does not exist. Okay. I have used here the temporary table, right? Okay, see, I have used a temporary table. Okay. Because of that, it is not created. Now you see, I am creating a table. Table is created. Transient table is created. Correct. Okay. Aggregated data this much. Now what I will do? I'll create a temporary table also. Hmm? I will create this temporary table. Yeah. I created a transient table and as well as I created a okay temporary table. Now you can see temporary table also we can see the data. Same result. Okay, let me keep both the one side. Okay, so TNT transient table. Yes, you can see the data. Temp temporary table. You can see the data. Now what I will do? I will log off. Okay. And I'm logging again. I'm running now. Okay. Temporary table I'll run first. Hmm. See, object is not available. Okay. Now you see this one. This is the transient table is there. And this table will be there till time travel. Okay. I mean, feature generally it is a permanent table. Even if you are checking the same data after 1 year also, yes, you will have. Only fail-safe concept won't be there. If you do any modifications or anything, right? We can go with the time travel concept. Only the time travel concept here not available. Okay, this is the major difference. Okay, and dynamic table. Dynamic table. Let me take the example. Create a replace dynamic table, table name. Okay, we need to give this. Okay, like this. Mhm. Mhm. Do we need some syntax like this? Let me see. Yes. Mhm. We need the same. Mhm. Country. CC underscore country. Okay. Country. I have created this. Hmm? Okay, like this. And the warehouse is compute WH. Dynamic table also created. Okay. So generally every 10 minutes it will refresh the data. Okay. So what I will do now to see, okay, create, create, uh, replace. Here I'll keep 1 minute, every 1 minute. Okay. And here I will add, okay, and another column. Hmm? Current timestamp as insert date. Okay. This insert date so that you can see the difference in the dates. Hmm? Insert date as timestamp. Okay. Maybe like this. Where can I put? Okay, so let's go back. Okay. Sum of mm, unexpected. Where to okay, here. This is the bracket. What is here? Hundred to hundred. Then answer. Oh, sorry. Time diff. Date. This is timestamp. Timestamp. Okay. You see. Now we have it this time. I'll copy this. Okay. So 2025, 29, 9, 39. Okay. Now after 1 minute we will see. This is the timetable, dynamic table. Okay. So like this you can trigger auto refresh and everything. So this is also very useful. And now we have a final table. Okay. Final table called external table. This is very, very useful concept. Okay. So that is the reason I have taken the last. Hmm? Data persistent. Key consideration for these five tables. Permanent tables are for long-term storage, while temporary tables are session-based. Transient tables are middle ground. Well, only the difference is fail-safe you will not have for the transient data recovery. Permanent tables have time travel and phase fail-safe, providing robust data recovery. Transient tables have limited, no fail-safe, and temporary tables have none, nothing. Okay, and cost is temporary and transit table can help reduce storage cost for non-critical data. Use case the best table type depends on your specific data storage and processing needs. Okay, generally no one will tell you yes you go with this, but when you are facing this scenario, right? I have faced this scenario. Okay, so because of I'm explaining this temporal table. In stored procedure, one of the stored procedure we have used temporary table. Okay, so the temporary table we have used, so we don't require data for a long time to validate that particular data. So that is the reason we just kept this data and we loaded this. For example, I will tell you. Okay. I have a file. I have loaded the file to stage table hmm, and stage table to history table. For example, I loaded. Here, what is my requirement? I am not deleting or I am not doing anything. Just whatever the data present in the history, I am loading the data into here. For example, okay. Now, and then finally, I am loading into dimension table. For example, now this stage table I will use as a temporary. Why I am going to use this table as a temporary? Because all the data, raw data I am keeping here as a history. Why I need this, right? Generally, I'm whatever the data was there in file, I'm loading into here and here to history. So here I don't require. In case if anything needed, I'll go here. And the history table, I'll not use a permanent. I'll use the transient table. Transient. Why? Because all the data will be there, but finally the data I'm storing in the dimension table. So I'll keep this as my permanent table. So permanent table is required for fail safe. But this history transient is enough. Why? Because I will reduce the cost at least, right? Hmm? So just I'm inserting the data. I don't require any failsafe here because just inserting the data overall, but data will be there, correct? I need raw data only. Why? I'm not doing any updates here, so I'll use this. Okay. So this is all. Hmm? And tomorrow we will discuss with the external table with the mini